What's up everyone, it's Justin from Make Supply, and in this video I'm going to do a comparison between die cutting leather on a clicker press versus cutting it on the laser cutter, which is behind me there. I've been laser cutting leather for several years now. If you've seen any of my videos or follow me on Instagram or anything like that, you'll see that. I'm relatively new to this, to the clicker, but we'll go through the pros and cons of both approaches and when one might be more suitable for your needs versus the other. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so first we'll go over the clicker press. The model I have is the 4-ton clicker press called the Mighty Wonder from Weaver Leather. Retail, these run about $1,400, I think. And there's also a bigger one, the 8-ton, which is obviously more expensive. There's all different kinds of these available online, some cheaper, some more expensive, and some people just rig together from shop presses. You can find videos of that on YouTube if you want to check it out. But I opted to go with a fully put together model ready to use. And if you're not familiar with how these work, basically it's like a cookie cutter. You put your dies, which we'll go over here in a second, onto the leather, under the machine, put it down, pull it, and it's essentially like cookie cutting out leather pieces. The dies I have here are made from Texas leather, Texas custom dies, sorry about that. See, these are 3/4 inch steel rule dies, and you can actually see the acrylic versions that I make on the laser right next to it. Okay, let's check this thing out in action. So I'm going to be putting down a piece of scrap leather onto the cutting board here just to raise the surface up a little bit. I have dies that are on the short end of height for the recommended size for this press. These are 3/4 inch, and this press recommends 1 1/4 inch. So what I have to do officially is raise this cutting board up a little bit by putting something under here. I haven't gotten to that yet, so for now I'm just going to put a piece of scrap leather onto my press surface, which just gives me a little bit more height when I'm punching through. Okay, so like I mentioned before, I'm just putting this down here for a temporary fix to the height issue of the die. This is the leather I'm going to cut, harness leather, for a slim wallet. For using this, you take your die, you place it where you want. The good thing about using the clicker is you can be really precise where you place your die. You can save a lot of leather because you can just put it there, put it right next to the last cutout piece, and just keep going along. Saves a lot of money and time. All right, put your die down. Swing over the clicker, make sure everything's good. Click down. And pull out. All right. I didn't go far enough down on that one, that's okay. Just an example, but as you see, they just click out just like that. And then what you'll do is you just move your die to the next position and keep going. And you get your wallet cutouts. So you can see why in production of leather goods, people, instead of hand cutting everything, you have to essentially use a clicker die to speed up the amount of stuff that you're getting out. Okay, so after that example, we will go to the laser and show you how that works in comparison to the clicker die. All right, laser time. I'm going to go through the setup I do and all the information before cutting, because once I turn off all this other stuff, it gets super loud and you won't be able to hear me at all. First off, I have a Boss LS 1630 laser. I use it mainly to cut my acrylic templates, which I have for sale. If you need any, check out the link in my profile to get to the website. But I also do cut leather from time to time. So I will show how I go about doing that. First, I will move the piece I'm using out of the way and talk about the bed. So these slats on here, this is called a knife edge bed. This is good for pretty much everything except for pieces that are small and might just always fall through, or stuff that needs to stay completely flat like leather, which is a huge pain, and you'll find out why in a second. So they also give you a honeycomb bed, which looks like this, which you put over top. Like that. And now you have more surface area for the leather to lay flat, and then nothing will fall through. Okay, so you'll go ahead and then throw your leather down. So, like I mentioned a couple seconds ago, the big problem with leather is it doesn't always want to stay flat. And when you're using a laser cutter, you need it to be as flat as possible. So you can see how it's lifting up here and different areas like that. So you really have to work on trimming it down, flattening it out, and getting it to stay straight. Otherwise, when the laser passes over here, when it's in focus and it's moving, it goes by the height. So it's going to come to these areas that are raised, and it's going to cut them incorrectly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to work on flattening that a little bit, come back, and then we'll continue on. All right, so as you notice, I kind of trimmed the piece a little bit to get it to lay flatter. It's as good as it's going to get. I taped the top to the frame, which helps it lay flat. So painter's tape is a godsend to laser cutting, not only with leather, but when you're masking for engraving and stuff. It's a great tool to have. So what I did there is I loaded the design onto the laser cutter. I focused it. That's just going to show me where it's cutting, doing that motion there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the file, and then we'll take a look at it. All right, so I just ran the file. I turned off all of the other stuff so you can hear me, and we'll take a look. And there's our cutout piece. So probably going to time lapse this and edit it a little bit during that process, but it took about 13 seconds or something like that to cut this shape out. So you can imagine it's a relatively quick cut once you set everything up. Still not as fast as the die cutter though. And of course you will have the burn marks. So what you have here are burn marks on the edges, that's unavoidable. And then some splashback on the back there, you can see. But surprisingly very clean on the front for this leather. Okay? So let me grab one. So here's the die cut versus the die cut on the top and the laser cut on the bottom. Okay, so I'll give my conclusion and pros and cons on each method. First, the laser cutter. If you are looking for something that's versatile and great for prototyping, the laser cutter can't be beat. Of course, you can use your finished products to cut on the laser, but it's especially good for testing out new designs when you don't want to hand cut something 100 times. I can just go on the computer, change the design, upload it to the laser, and cut it out and see what works and what doesn't. You can't do that with the dies. Obviously, you have to order them, so once they are set in steel rule, that's what they are, and if you need to fix it, you need to buy a whole other die. So the laser is by far the most versatile method. You will have to do, if you're going to be using it for production work, you will be doing a lot more cleanup. Like I said, the edges will all need to be addressed from the laser. If you get any on the top, you'll have to clean that, and maybe on the back. There are companies that laser cut their leather products, and it's part of their thing. They don't even make any qualms about it, but it does get a little bit of a bad rap. As far as the die cutting, it is way faster in every conceivable notion of leather working. Once you have your die, you have your leather, you just pop the leather in, pull the lever. You can do that. I can cut out probably 2 or 3 or even more in the time that it takes for the laser cutter to run one design. So, a lot of people say that using the laser cutter is cheating. I think the laser cutter takes way more prep work and way more time to get fully ready to go compared to the clicker. So if you are looking, you have a design, you just need lots of them very quick. Die cutter all the way. These dies, they'll run about 50, like the smaller ones like this, $50 to $100 each, maybe more depending on how complicated the designs are. But then once you have them, as long as you maintain them, you'll be good to go. You can click out tons of these things in a small time frame. All right, and that's the conclusion to my laser cutter versus die cutter comparison video. Again, just to sum up, if you're looking for something that's versatile and great for prototyping and still precise, go with the laser cutter. If you're looking for something that you already have your designs dialed in and you're just looking for rapid fire production, go with the die cutter. If you're an absolute boss, you can get both of them. Other than that, if you have any questions, you can email me or comment. I'm way more active on Instagram, so @MakeSupply is my Instagram. If you need templates, as always, shop.makesupply-leather.com. Thanks for watching.